What's going on, guys? My name is Cmdr, and welcome to the ICL Season 2 post-draft analysis. I am all by myself, similar to the IDL Week 1. Someone may be coming in, I don't know. I left it open. I'm sitting here in ICL chat. And so we're going to go over the teams. There are 16 teams this season, and some of the teams are really good, and then some of the teams should have just redrafted. So we're going to go through them all. Starting at the number... Oh, I'm gonna... We're going to die again. It's okay. Starting at the number 16 spot, we have Admiral, coach of the New York Nido Kings. His team consists of Tapu Bulu, Breloom, Araquanid, Beware. There's my sheet. Galvantula, Mimikyu, Porygon2, Whimsicott, Virizion, Toros, and Mega Pidgeot. Admiral's team by far, to put it blunt, was the worst team out of everyone. It had about half the points of first place, sitting at a 35 out of, I think 68 was the highest I gave someone. He has some really good mons. Tapu Bulu is an amazing mon, and in the right hands can completely destroy things. Galvantula works really well. Mimikyu can be used very well. Porygon 2 can sit on a lot of things. And Mega Pidgeot, I should know. I've used it really well. He does not have a fire type. He does have 3 grass types, which I don't know how 3 grass types are going to be taking out grass types that you need a fire type. I don't see how a Whimsicott or a Tapu Bulu is taking out a Skarmory. Just pointing that out there without Stone Edge. Stone Edge will miss anyway. Then he doesn't have a Steel type. And he doesn't have a Dragon type. But he has 3 Fairy types. So, I don't know. His hazard control is in Mega Pidgeot. Let that sink in. His hazard control is weak to hazards. He only has one form of putting up those hazards, and that's Sticky Wed's Galvantula, of all things. His team dies to Staraptor. Tapu Bulu dies to Staraptor. Broom dies to Staraptor. Araquanid dies to Staraptor. Beware dies to Staraptor. Whimsicott dies to Staraptor. He has a very big flying weakness. Yeah. He's going to have to make trades. There is no doubt he cannot do very well unless he makes some trades. And he's going to have to make a lot of trades. Has he even made trades? Let's look. I don't see... It looks like he is not. So, that's number 16. 15th is Rob, coach of the Elucid Espeons. He has Kartana, Bisharp, Alola Marowak, Rotom Heat, Slowking, Tornadus Eye, Golbat, Hitmonlee, Dusclops, Golem, Alolan Golem, and Mega Pinsir. This is a little better of a team. We're now starting to have a fire type. But we don't have a dragon or a fairy type yet. Do have steel type in Kartana and Bisharp. But we don't have a dragon type. We don't have a fairy type. Hazards and hazard control are an afterthought, but a little bit better than 14th. We'll talk about combat in a sec. His team is subpar. It's not... I mean, like, yeah, Kartana's scary. Kartana's easy to deal with. Alola Marowak's scary. Alola Marowak's easy to deal with. I say the most scariest thing on his team is if he can use Golbat really well. Mega Pinsir's always a threat, however, it's easy to get rid of if you know how to get rid of it. I say if he can use Rotom Heat and Slowking really well, he's going to be a threat. But only if he can use those 2 mons really well. Otherwise, he's just going to sit at 0 and 12, minus 96. I don't think that's possible. Yeah, it is. It's totally possible. Moving on to... No, it's not. It would be minus 72. Moving on to number 14, which is your defending ICL champion, Combat Mystic, coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. His team of Landers Incarnate, Cresselia, Como-O, Scolipede, Toxapex, Decidueye, Heliolist, Ditto, Moltres, Claydol, and Mega Autodone. You can tell that his Mega was an afterthought, and his Hazard Control was a massive afterthought. Moltres, which shouldn't be drafted ever. It's like drafting Charizard. And Claydol, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but definitely not the best thing in the world, and he should have decided on other things. He also doesn't have a Steel or a Fairy type. He has Como-O. He does not have a Steel type or a Fairy type, which, that is sad. He could have totally prepped better. I mean, he has Toxapex. That's a poison type. But, seriously, I expect a little more out of the champion. Moving on to number 13 is going to be Dr. Piplup. I believe Dr. Piplup. I remember as Dr. Piplup. Coach of the New England Piplups. You can tell he likes Piplup. He did not draft Piplup. I think that's banned. A team of Latios, Florges, Amoonguss, Chandelure, Cloyster, Cobalion, Minshao, Zoroark, Almamola, Stunfisk, and Megabeedrill. This, Dr. Piplup, is the Shadow Link of the ICL. He drafted 6 Tier 3s. Granted, there was another coach that drafted 6 Tier 3s. That would have been Admiral. But these 6 Tier 3s are a lot better. And having Latios is nice. However, this is the first team that actually has both cores that you need. His setting up his hazards being only in really Megabeedrill and Cobalion is kind of saddening. But I can't judge because his team's not all that bad. It's a subpar team, to say the very least. He has some good mons, but he's going to have to pick up the pace and be very offensive with his mons to do well. Moving on to number 12, we have Jay Reezy, coach of the Houston Toros. His team, after I figure out where he is, Houston Toros, is Celesteela, Terrakion, Politoed, Flygon, Nidoking, Shaman, Tentacruel, Accelgor, Audinone, Mushanra, and Mega Ampharos. Just saying, Terrakion better be a Zmon, or one of his Zmons. Terrakion is an amazing Zmon. He does not have a fire type, nor does he have a fairy type. But he has good hazards, decent hazard control. I mean, he only has 2 mons for his hazard control. His hazard control being Defog, Flygon, and Rapid Spin Tentacruel, but Tentacruel is very good in League format. His team is average compared to everyone else, and just as lacking of a fairy and a dragon type. He could drop Mushanra. No, he couldn't. He could drop a Accelgor. Pick up Turtonator. And that fixes both his cores, even though Turtonator's not the best mon in the world. He does have a really good grass type in Shaman. Shaman should put in work. He has a really good Terrakion. And he has Celesteela. So, I'll be interested to see how he plays. Oh, I'm going to die again. We're going to move on to number 11. Number 11 is Swerve Out, coach of... I lost him. I lose him so fast. The Akin Flygons. He drafted Sylveon, so I gave him like +2 for that. For Alligator, Minior, Empoleon, Golisopod, Jolteon, Sableye, Electros, Mesprit, Alolan Persian, and Mega Slowbro. He has some really good mons. Golisopod, Empoleon, Jolteon, Sylveon, Allions. Electros. I think Electrox is one of the most underrated mons in League format, and probably one of the best Tier 4s. Then he has Alolan Persian for some reason. I don't think Mega Slowbro is the best choice for the team. He doesn't have a Fire type or a Dragon type either. It's not... He's the one who doesn't have the Dragon type. He's from Toros. Doesn't have Fairy type. A dragon. Oh, Mega Ampharos. And Flygon. Doesn't have a fairy type. You see what I mean. Moving on to 10th. We have Zora FX, coach of Crud. I forget what coach he is. He's the coach of the Memphis, I can't pronounce that Pokemon's name. Marinis? We're going to call it the Memphis Marinis. His team of Tapu Fini, Azelf, Celebi, Magnezone, Espeon, Gardevoir, Drapion, Gastrodon, Torkoal, Aggron, and Megatitar. He... Excuse me. Does not have grass type. Only person who does not have a grass type, mind you. He also doesn't have a dragon type. Great at the hazard department. Hazard control of Torkoal and Tapu Fini isn't going to be interesting. But it's not like a horrible team. It's 10th. It's pretty darn good. But there's a lot of teams that are a whole lot better and actually have a full draft. And moving on to number 9, round out the bottom 9, or the bottom 8, is going to be Inyazuna, coach of the Richmond Raikou. Inyu has a really nice draft. Heatran, Hydreigon, Gliscor, Lucario, Alolan Ninetales, Wishiwashi, Slurpuff, Trevin, Emolga, Leafeon, and Mega Aerodactyl. He has some really good mons. Let's see here. He has a very solid team. His hazard control could be a little bit better. His hazard control is Gliscor and I think Mega Aerodactyl and Emolga, but Emolga shouldn't be defogging. Emolga should be kicking some butt. That's his real only weakness, and his team's not like stupid broken. So that's your bottom 8. Let's look at your top 8 here. Moving on to the next one. At 8, we have probably I know one person I'm super excited to see come back. That's Point Blank, coach of the Winnipeg Blue Blastoise. His team is Manaphy, Necrozma, Goodra, Arcanine, Nidoking, Aromatisse, Hitmontop, Rotom Cut / Mo, Spiritomb, Mawile, and Megalopunny. Mawile fixes a lot of the issues with the team. He needs to make some trades. He needs to watch himself. He has some really great mons. Arcanine, Goodra, excuse me, Manaphy. Holy crap, he has Manaphy. Other than that, I mean, his hazard control is less than desirable, being just Hitmontop. He has Mega Lopunny. That should prove to be good. And just, yeah, it's right in the middle, right where this team belongs. Moving to number 7, we have Sloppy, coach of the Nicadas. A team of the first pick, Magearna, Chansey, Dugtrio, Haxorus, Rioniclus, Blastoise, Honchkrow, which I think is an underrated mon in the tier 3. Blaziken, Lurantis, Zebstrika, and Megabanette. He has a lot of tier 2s. Chansey really doesn't fit on the team, in my opinion, but Dugtrio works fantastic. Honchkrow is an amazing choice. He has everything he needs. It's one of only 2 teams where everything is solid on the team. He's not missing a whole lot. And, I think you kind of need that in this format. I'm just seeing here, I just remember there was 2, I came across the first rain team. Where's the second rain team? Oh, it was Houston Toros, and yeah, we'll talk about rain teams later. Moving on to number 6, we have Hiker Toad, coach of. I have to write down here because he doesn't have his icon. Boston Boulderos. A team of Landorus, Therian, Weavile, Rodamwaj, Darmanitan, Tangrowth, Dredagon, Kamala, Registeel, Yixi, Avalugg, and Gardevoir. He doesn't have a dragon type, but he has great hazards and hazard control. I mean, it's a solid mid-pack team. One of the matches just happened while I'm recording. Moving on to number 5, we have Drampa, coach of the Drexel Drampas. A very solid team of... did I ever say Hiker's team? Yeah, I did. Okay. A team of Latias, Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, Milotic, Delmize, Hawlucha, Porygon Z, Incineroar, Armaldo, Licky Licky, and Mega Aggron. Licky Licky being the downfall of the team, but it is a very good team. It's definitely one of the top 5. I mean, maybe top 6, arguably, but I'll be just excited to see how Drampa plays with it. It works rather well, in all honesty. His hazard control is one of those things where it's like, okay, he doesn't have a lot of hazard control. Let's bring hazards. And then he has Latias, and he has Delmize, and then he has Armaldo. All 3 do pretty darn well. Let's move into your top 4. 4th is going to be PCM, coach of the Chicago Blues. His team of Victini, Diggersby, Slowbro, Zygar 50%. Why no one drafts Zygar 10%? Come on. Fortress, Pelipper. Don't know why he has Rain. Rain does not help his draft at all. Sneasel, Togetic, Electabuzz, Miltank, and Mega Venusaur. He has everything he needs for a good draft. He has good hazard control, solid team. Still don't understand why Pelipper's on the team, though. I mean, he has Slowbro. Way better water type than Pelipper. And it's not like he can really do something with Rain. Moving on to number 3 is Heartenage. Hearttongue, coach of the wannabe Walreins. His team of Excadrill, Garchomp, Togekiss, Gigalef. He has a sand team. This is scary. Vaporeon, Cofagrigus, Hitmonchan, Meloetta, Stoutland, Weezing, Mega Glade. He has a sand team. That is as easy as you can put it. Excadrill, Garchomp, Gigalef is hardcore to deal with. He does not have a fire type, however. But he has a sand team, so it doesn't really matter. His team will be scary to beat. He should be able to go 6-0 every week, right? He has a sand team of Garchomp and Excadrill, of all things. Now moving on to your top 2. Second is John, coach of Indiana Keldios. His team is really scary. His team, in my opinion, is the most scariest team, including beating Sand Team and beating number 1. Jirachi, Kyurem Black, Entei, Gengar, Heracross, Snorlax, Gligar, Tisserina, Cryogonal Gorbis, that he just traded for Gourgeist, and Mega Blastoise. That is a really scary team. His downfall is he doesn't have a fairy type. Oh, and his hazard control is not the strongest in the world. It's Megastoise and Cicerina and Gligar. But really scary team. I expect John to be in the finals. If I had to predict the 2 people in the finals, it's the top 2 on this list. John is an amazing battler. He's gotten 6-0s in leagues for League Center before. And if he had his fairy type, he would have been number 1. But number 1 is Matrix, coach of Carolina Lycanroc. No, this is not me playing favorites. Matrix's team of Skarmory, Tapu Lele, Salamence. Those 3 alone, that's when your fairy dragon steel core is that? Holy crap. He also has Crobat, Donphan. He has Donphan, which is one of the best spinners in the game. Emboar, Umbreon, Sceptile. Sceptile people sleep on. Sceptile is a really good tier 4. Dusknoir, which he uses very well. Lantern, and wait. Didn't I say Dusknoir before? One is probably Dusclops. Yeah, that's what I thought. Roberts, Duskclaws, Dusknor, Lantern, and Mega Steelix. When your Mega is the worst thing on your team, that tells you something. But Matrix's team is really good. Tapu Lele Skarmory. Salamence, in my opinion, is the best Zmon user in the game. And he has Tapu Lele to go with Salamence. That is scary. He has the perfect team. He has great hazard control, great hazards, a really good team, no real weaknesses. I expect Matrix to be playoffs, definitely. If not, semifinals, potentially finals. I'm going to die. So yeah, really hope you enjoy. My name's Commander. That is all. We will see you again next time.